Okay, students, welcome to the model number 3, pages 29 and 30. Okay, we're going to continue with the class, and I hope that you can learn many things about this. Let's go to start. Okay, we have the listening about the life in Australia. The question can be, how is the life in Australia? Okay, the first exercise is going to tell us, Nikki is asking about daily life in Australia. Listen and number the questions. Do most people, okay, the questions, you have to put the numbers, okay? Here we have 7 questions and you have to put the number. For example, the first question is, when do shops open and close in Australia? This is number 1. Okay, you have to put numbers in the next questions. Let's go to read this. For example, the question A is, do most people live in flats or houses? La mayoría de las personas viven en departamentos o casas, is the question. What time do children go to school? ¿A qué hora van los niños a la escuela? What time do people start work? ¿A qué hora las personas comienzan a trabajar? Do they go home for lunch? ¿Van a su casa para el almuerzo? When do shops open and close in Australia? ¿Cuándo las tiendas abren y cierran en Australia? What time do pubs and restaurants close? ¿A qué hora los boliches y los restaurantes cierran? What do people do at the weekend? ¿Qué hace la gente el fin de semana? Okay, we are going to listen and you put the numbers of these questions. Let's go to listen.
Module 3, Recording 5. When do shops open and close in Australia?
They open at about 9 and close at about 5 or 5:30, except supermarkets. They close about 12 o'clock at night.
And what about pubs and restaurants? What time do they close?
On Friday and Saturday, they close at about 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning.
So what time do people start work?
Most people start work at about 9 and they finish at about 5.
And do they go home for lunch?
No, they eat a sandwich in the park or have lunch in a cafe.
What time do children go to school?
They start school about 8:30 and finish at about 3:30.
So what do people do at the weekend?
In my city, Sydney, most people go to the beach.
And do most people live in flats or houses?
In the city centre, most people live in flats or apartments, we say. But outside, people live in houses with gardens, and a lot of people have got swimming pools in their gardens.
Okay, if you have finished, you can have the, for example, when do shops open and close in Australia? This is number 1. Number 2, what time do pubs and restaurants close? Okay, let's go to check all the numbers. And all the numbers is like this. When do shops open and close in Australia? Number 1. What time do pubs and restaurants close? Number 2. What time do people start work? Number 3. Do they go home for lunch? 4. What time do children go to school? 5. What do people do at the weekend? 6. And do most people live in flats or houses? This is 7. Okay, if you have do like this, you have done good. Let's continue. Question number 2 or exercise number 2. Listen again and tick the sentences which are true. Okay, for example, in Australia, shops open at 9 and close at about 5. That's true, shops. Okay, let's continue. Which sentences of these are true or which sentences of these are false? For example, here we have supermarkets close at midnight. Pubs and restaurants close at about 11 o'clock. Most people go home for lunch. People have lunch in cafes. Children finish school at 8:30. At the weekend, most people go to the beach. In the city center, people live in houses. A lot of people have got swimming pools. Okay, let's go to listen again and tick the sentences which are true.
Module 3, Recording 5. When do shops open and close in Australia?
They open at about 9 and close at about 5 or 5:30, except supermarkets. They close about 12 o'clock at night.
And what about pubs and restaurants? What time do they close?
On Friday and Saturday, they close at about 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning.
So what time do people start work?
Most people start work at about 9 and they finish at about 5.
And do they go home for lunch?
No, they eat a sandwich in the park or have lunch in a cafe.
What time do children go to school?
They start school about 8:30 and finish at about 3:30.
So what do people do at the weekend?
In my city, Sydney, most people go to the beach.
And do most people live in flats or houses?
In the city centre, most people live in flats or apartments, we say. But outside, people live in houses with gardens, and a lot of people have got swimming pools in their gardens.
Okay, let's go to check the answers. Which sentences are true? Okay, supermarkets close at midnight. People have lunch in cafes. A lot of people have got swimming pools. Okay, these 4 sentences are true. The other ones are wrong or aren't correct. Okay, let's continue. Language focus 2. Present simple. Language focus 2, talking about present simple, positive and negative. Present simple, positive and negative. This is the language focus 2. Okay, here you can see this. Look at back the text about life in Britain. Find 3 positive and 2 negative sentences. Okay, you're going to do this in your houses, in your books. Okay, talking about the grammar part, we have the positive and negative. The positive and negative. I live in a house, positive. You go to work at about 9 o'clock. We have lunch in a cafe. They start school at about 9 o'clock. The negatives, you have to complete the negative with I. What's the negative? The negative form is do not. This is the full form, but the short form is don't. So I don't have a big lunch. Okay, complete this. Okay, I think so you have finished and the result's going to be like this. Yes, I don't have a big lunch. You don't work in an office. We don't live in a flat. And they don't go to school. Okay, this is the negative part and the positive part about the verbs. So don't forget this. In the positive forms, we have to use the infinitive. Infinitive means la forma normal. Live, go, have, start. But in the negative, we necessarily use the auxiliary for the negatives. Don't. Only in I, you, we, and they. Okay, let's continue with this. Practice. Complete the sentences for your country. Use either the positive or negative form. Correct the information where necessary. Most people don't live in houses. They live in flats. Okay, this is about the life in Bolivia, for example. Most people. Most people means la mayoría de las personas. Most people. Most people live in houses in Bolivia, right? Most people live in houses. What about B? Most people have gardens or don't have gardens. ¿Tienen o no tienen jardines? You have to complete this. Most office workers start work at 9 o'clock or don't start work at 9 o'clock. Most people go home for lunch or don't go home for lunch. Most people have a big meal in the evening or don't have a big meal in the evening. Children go to school in the afternoon or don't go to school in the afternoon. Most young people leave school at 16 or don't leave school at 16. Most shops stay open 24 hours or don't stay open 24 hours. Most shops close at lunchtime or don't close at lunchtime. Most shops open on Sundays or don't open on Sundays. Restaurants close or don't close at 11 in the evening. Let's check the answers. These are my answers. Okay, my own answers. Most people live in houses. Most people don't have gardens. Most office workers don't start work at 9 o'clock. Most people go home for lunch. Most people don't have a big meal in the evening. Children don't go to school in the afternoon. Most young people don't leave school at 16. Most shops don't stay open 24 hours. Most shops close at lunchtime. Most shops don't open on Sunday. Restaurants close at 11 in the evening. Okay, let's continue with the next exercise. Exercise number 2. Write about 3 things that are different between your country and Britain. Okay, you're going to do this as a homework. Okay. In Britain, children start school at about 9 o'clock, but in Poland, they start at 8 o'clock. Okay, you have to write 3 things that are different between Bolivia and Britain. This is as a homework. And the exercise number 3 says, use the ideas below to make 6 true sentences about yourself. 6 oraciones verdaderas acerca de ti mismo. I live in a house or I don't live in a house. I have lunch at home or I don't have lunch at home. Maybe you go to a restaurant. I eat a lot of meat. I speak Spanish or I don't speak Spanish. I go to restaurants a lot. I have swimming pool in my garden or I don't have swimming pool in my garden. I have a big meal in the evening. I drink a lot of coffee. I study a lot at the weekend or I work in an office. This is as a homework, okay? You're going to do 6 true sentences. Let's continue. Okay, the next part is about the time. And when we use the question for the time, we use, for example, the question, what time is it? What time is it is the question. What time is it? In this case, what time is it in Los Angeles? What time is it in Los Angeles? It's 1 o'clock. Okay, days and times, real life. It's 4 o'clock in London. Listen and mark the time around the world in the clocks. Okay, you have to draw this in the clocks. Let's go to listen and draw the clocks.
Module 3, Recording 6. 1.
In Los Angeles, it's 9 o'clock in the morning.
9 o'clock.
2. In Sao Paulo, it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon. 3.
In London, it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
4. In Moscow, it's 8 o'clock in the evening. 5.
In Tokyo, it's 1 o'clock in the morning.
6. In Auckland, it's 4 o'clock in the morning.
Okay, I have a problem here, sorry. What time is it in Los Angeles? Los Angeles, it's 9 o'clock. This is not correct. It's 9 o'clock. This is 9 o'clock. O'clock means en punto, right? It's 9 o'clock. Let's continue with the next. Okay, let's go to see the answers. If you have drawn like this. Okay, and the answers is like this. In Sao Paulo, what time is it in Sao Paulo? It's 1 o'clock. It's 1 o'clock. What time is it in London? It's 4 o'clock. 4 o'clock. What time is it in Moscow? It's 8 o'clock. What time is it in Tokyo? It's 1 o'clock. What time is it in Auckland? It's 4 o'clock. Good. Let's continue with the next exercise. Match the times with the watches. Okay, here we have the time, and these are the watches. How many watches can you see here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 watches. And here we have the explanation. In this part is the explanation about the time in English. O'clock means en punto. O'clock. A quarter means cuarto. A quarter, cuarto. And half means media. So from here to here, we use the particle past. And from here to here, we use the particle to. So that's the reason that we say pass. For example, here we have 22 to 11. It's 22:11. This is the watch number 2. This is the watch number 2. 20, 20, to 11. 20 para las 11. It's 20 to 11. It's 8:15. Cuarto pasado de las 8. 8:15. Cuarto pasado de las 8. So what watch is it? So it's number 5. 8:15. cuarto pasado de las 8. This is the number 5. So number 5. Okay, continue with the other times. It's 5 past 6. 5 pasado de las 6. It's 20 past 3. 25 past 3. 25 pasado de las 3. 3 y 25. It's 9:30. Media pasado de las 9. 9 y media. It's 10 to 4. That means 10 para las 4. So, have you finished? You're going to have 30 minutes to do this. Okay, and the result is like this. Okay, so for example, okay, the watch number, the watch C or the time C is talking about the watch number 6. It's 5 past 6. 5 pasado de las 6. 5 pasado de las 6. 6 y 5. That's me. Okay, what about the D? It's 25 past 3. This is the watch 3. 25 past 3. 3 y 25. It's 9:30. This is the watch number 4. 9:30. 9 y media. It's 10 to 4. This is the watch number 1. 10 minutos para las 4. It's 10 to 4. This is. Let's continue. Write the times, then listen and check. Okay, for example, in this case, 5 to 10. 5 para las 10. What about this? It's quarter past 7. Cuarto pasado de las 7. Okay, continue doing the other sentences. Okay, and here we have the answers.
Module 3, Recording 7. A. 5 to 10. B.
7:15.
C. 9:30. D.
20 to 9.
E. 7:15. F.
12:05.
G. 2:45. H.
10 past 3.
I. 9:25. J.
10 to 8.
K. 5 to 3. L.
25 to 10.
Okay, if you have finished about listening, the result's going to be like this.
Module
Okay, 7:15, 9:30, 9:22, 9:45, 7:05. It's 2:45, 3:10, 3:25, 9:10, 5:03. It's 22:10. Okay, let's continue with the next exercise.
Module
Okay, the pronunciation about this is, for example, listen again and notice the stress. Two is weak. 5 to 10, 5 to 10. This is the pronunciation. 5 to 10, 7:15. 5 to 10, 7:15. 5 to 10, 20 to 9, 7:15, 3:15, 10 to 8, 5 to 3. This is the pronunciation of this.
Module
Okay. We can listen again and practice.
Module 3. Recording 7. A. 5 to 10. B.
7:15.
7:15.
C. 9:30.
9:30.
D.
20 to 9.
20 to 9.
E. 7:15.
7:15.
F.
12:05.
12:05.
G. 3:15.
3:15.
H.
3:10.
3:10.
I. 9:25.
9:25.
J.
10 to 8.
10 to 8.
K. 5 to 3.
5 to 3.
L.
25 to 10.
25 to 10. Okay, don't forget that. Let's continue with the next part. Okay, the number 4, working pairs. Student A, look at the TV guide on page 140. Student B, look at the TV guide on page 142. This is going to be a pending activity. We're going to do this after these problems, and we're going to continue in class with this. And the exercise number 5 is a homework. Okay, working pairs is saying here, discuss the questions. But you can start answer these questions A, B, C, and D. For example, the question is, do banks open at the weekend in your country? Is the question. ¿Abren los bancos los fines de semana en tu país? What time do they normally open and close? Okay, answer this. Do shops in your country open on Sunday? What time do they open and close? Do people have a big lunch on Sunday? What time do they normally have lunch? Which days do you have English lessons? And what time do your lessons start and finish? Okay, with this activity, it's as a homework. You're going to do this in your house. We have finished with this.